But that is the first or second time. But then they need to draw a line that consensual, non-consensual, and not come around and say I was subjected to molestation because I was under the influence of alcohol. That itself is questionable.
So, when you say a person says, I was under the influence of alcohol, the boy also says, I was under the influence of alcohol. And what do we do next? How does the law or how does the internal committee take care of them? To
Honestly,
prove is difficult.
so according to the POSH Act,
Hmm.
Section 13 on 1113, they all lay down the procedure and the enquiry steps of the Act as to how do you take charge, how does the internal committee take forward an enquiry when there is a complaint. Now, when that comes into force, you listen to the girl. First step is having a written complaint.
Hmm.
So the woman has to, must give a
Give a
written
written
complaint
complaint.
with the signature.
Hmm.
So mostly what we prefer is a handwritten complaint with a sign, typed with a sign, that has to be scanned so that we see the sign. Once we get a signed complaint, we look into it. Within 7 working days, we send a notice to the respondent that we've got a complaint against you, so and so. Please reply within the next 7 to 10 days. 7 days, 10 days is more like 1.5 week working days. So when the respondent comes forward with his reply saying that, oh, but I thought it was consensual, I'm quite surprised and shocked myself because I thought we were taking this somewhere, something like that, or sorry, this is complete misunderstanding. I had no such intentions. Depending on the gruesomeness of the case, we of course hear the girl most of the time more than once because she's so vulnerable and she's taken that effort to open up to somebody. We respect that because it takes a lot for a woman to come forward, a lot of courage for a woman to come forward. Now, going forward, when all this has come to us, we will set up a date. If we can mediate, well and good. If the nature of the act allows us to mediate, we will first try and mediate. Say there is misunderstanding. For instance, I had this one of the known hotels here. It was a five-star hotel, and the head chef said that the girl constantly kept saying she's not well and she was taking off. And then she said, I have fever. So, as a very father of a young daughter, I checked her forehead to see whether she has fever or not with the back of my arm. Now, whether that culminates to sexual harassment or not is up to us. Now, those kind of situations, she gave one or two more instances. So we had to sit them down and say that, listen, let's give it another shot and let's mediate for now. So that is our first step under the POSH Act, whether we can mediate. Now, after we realize, okay, there is this consensual, this definitely is not mediatable. So we bring them on differently, separately. We hear them out. The girl says that this has happened. She narrates the whole of her side. If there are any photographs or if there is any calls, if there is any messages, she will bring that to our notice. The same thing goes with the guy. All this is mentioned in the Act. All this is highly confidential. According to Section 16 or 12, it is mandatory for us as an internal committee to put it forward to both the complainant and the respondent that this entire thing is confidential. At no point can the IC bring out the identities, the contacts, the addresses of the parties and put it out, and it is punishable by law. And to a point that one person can even be stepped down, asked to be stepped down from the internal committee. So when we see the whole thing, the boy will say, "Oh, he took pictures." He will show some intimate pictures of that evening. He will show some. No, he will show. He will try to show that the girl was also going up and posing up with him. And in that situation, now it brings us to a sign that okay, the girl was leading. If she was so reluctant, she would have left. Or
It's come under cyberbullying or how we can connect?
see, at this point, we are looking at POSH.
Okay.
When we talk about cybercrime, that
Yeah.
is one section, and when it is
Okay. 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 But how they can protect themselves?
This question in a bit. Let me just finish the inquiry procedure.
Okay.
And I will come back
Yeah.
to this after.
Sure, sure. Merlin, you have any doubt, you can interact with Jyoti. Just now she joined.
Yeah, thank you, thank you. Not right now.
Yeah, yeah, sure.
So once the inquiry is made, you can written as committee. Now we can understand where the situation is, what is the pluses and minuses, what is the situation leading to. So, according to that, we can tell the girl that, please try and restrict yourself from losing control of yourself with people who you can't be safe with. And for men, you can say, like, why put yourself in this situation? Because tomorrow, if anybody after consensual sex also, you cannot prove that it was non consensual. The law will also just hear the woman. I will also have my sympathy with the woman because she will have some bite here, some scratch here, and that is good enough to prove an assault. So if it is also consensual and she has those scars, it becomes an assault. So, I think the training and the counseling is utmost important for this age group of 19 to 25 because that's when they're very vulnerable emotionally, physically, mentally. So it is very important to coach them that what is correct and what is not. So even if it is consensual and there are marks, she can anyways come up and tell me that it was under the influence of alcohol. So, we need to study the case. We need to see what are the evidences that have been produced. It is a gray area.
The entire discussion reminded of the movie Ink.
Of course, that was one of the stalwarts movie, and it is one of a very good movie. Question was that
Maliciousness.
maliciousness. So see, according to the act, the penalties are the same for somebody who making false and malicious complaints as they are for somebody who has made those acts. Yes. So the act is trying to do that, but I have seen in the real world organizations take a softer stand against women, which is also okay. A lot many times I've seen that these temporary women who come as temps in organization for a certain project, they are project specific. They will at the end of the period make some kind of an allegation, something, just in order to make their stay longer. I mean, I think as an internal committee member, we have got enough experience to see through the complaint in the first hand. So we don't put them to any charges, but we give them warnings, and then we move the crux of the complaint of, can you make my job permanent? Go to the HR because that is not in my jurisdiction. So that there are different issues that we need to very clearly segregate. I hope I've answered both your questions.
Yes, it's a very vast topic, and I think the more we discuss, the more we have questions about it.
Yes.
Have you any cases, or how do you create a sensitivity amongst young people?
So,
Any suggestions?
there are organizations that I am the external member on, and on an average, if not more, I do workshops on POSH minimum of once in 3 weeks, if not once in 3 weeks, once in a month, mandatorily. And most of the organizations have their new employees, or do attend my session once in 6 months. So when you say organizations, it is organized sector. But I am in talks with the Human Rights Commission right now to do these workshops more often in all the languages. So, yeah, I am a lawyer, but there is some kind of element in me that I want to spread more awareness. That is what I can give back to the society. So, yeah, I think we all do a little bit on our own as well.
Sure.
So when the case is brought to the committee, when the case is brought to the committee, actually it's two questions again, I'm sorry. So what is the qualification of the IC?
Yeah.
How are they equipped to be able to be the judge of?
Yes, so that's a very good question again, because what is the power of the IC? First, the power of the IC is a local magistrate court, which means you're the judge. Now, what can you do as a judge? You can summon anyone at any given point. You can summon any document or any kind of an information at any given point. And the third point it says under the Act is anything else as may be required. Now, that is a very broad thing that the POSH committee, IC committee is given as a power. Now, an internal committee, as I mentioned earlier, a chairwoman who is a senior woman employee of the organization. Senior most preferably, not the HR. Senior most women employee. Secondly, an expert. An expert would be an external member who has a minimum of 5 years of experience. Now, you have a very valid point here. Now, if you get an NGO person, they will only stick to the POSH Act. Today, if anybody reads the POSH Act, they'll see, okay, it's simple, I will try and read. But if you get a lawyer, they will have a knowledge about different laws, different case laws. So a lawyer is always better to play a lawyer's role.
That's exactly what I was saying. Even if it is the senior most
These two members are
how
very
well
important.
versed are they with
So
the
they
law
usually go.
beyond the committee?
We have to undergo a training.
So I do these which or usually in POSH. I have created these two platforms. One is train the trainers, and two is train the employees. So one, I give them a complete idea as to how to address a complaint, and two, to the employees, I give them as to what are their rights, what are they supposed to do in a situation. So there are two different things that the trainer and the trainee must know. So that's how I usually do the sessions. So, and also the external member is usually having a more responsibility to guide the internal committee. So that's how the internal committee also becomes equipped. And right now there's so many courses and all that are there in the market, I would say, to for these sessions for the internal committee members.
Counselor also, psychologist also.
No, that
So
is not allowed.
no, why not? A counselor is a very helpful person on the committee. Bigger organizations usually have it, because smaller organizations usually don't have that much of bandwidth. So when a gruesome or a serious case comes into picture, input from a counselor is very helpful. And during the interim relief. So, according to section 16 of the Act, it talks about the interim relief. Now, interim relief is when a person has made a complaint, and what is the relief that is granted. This is basically concept that is taken from the Domestic Abuse Act, wherein the girl or the victim or the complainant, whatever it may be, she has been given immediate relief. What are those? One, either she's changed into another team wherein the reporting officer who could have been the respondent, the complaint against, is not the same person anymore. So she is changed the team, or the respondent is made to change the team. Secondly, she is given a leave for up to 3 months. Now, why up to 3 months? Because according to the law, the inquiry must be completed within 3 months. 3 months. So we have the girl getting a leave up to 3 months in addition to the leave that she has already been granted by the organization. And thirdly, no, I said leave, change of teams, and if need be, she can be working in a complete different unit altogether. So these are generally the reliefs that are granted to the woman during the course. And usually what happens, the man is also given that that temporary what do you say, termination or whatever, he's in parole or something like that. So
Affects the person who loses out on the income and things like that.
the woman is on paid leave.
The man, supposing till the case
The
is proved,
would it be fair to say the complainant is on paid leave and the respondent or not?
So if there is any if there is any promotion,
Right.
or if there is
It is
any
held back.
increment or bonuses are held back for the respondent, they'll be on for the 3 months till the accusations are not proved. They'll be on basic pay. Depends, if it is taken further up, then the pays will be flat down.
I have a point here to make. I mean, as counselors, we do get sometimes people who come and confide in us. So being on the internal committee does make a difference, because then the counselors' views are conflicting.
See, that's why if you see a
Hmm.
lot of case laws, the HR person will never be on the IC committee
Right.
unless there is nobody else, because they generally know the details going on. Now, the counselors, it is lethal, right? Because somebody is just coming to you saying that something has happened to you, happened to them, and you use it to
Influence
your
the
discretion to tell them. You can suggest. See, it is always according to the act or the rules or the case laws. You will see that the complainant is encouraged to confide in a friend or someone. They will also be brought to stand in interrogation as a
Right.
witness. At that point, you can always say that somebody confided in me and I saw that they were being suffering and it wasn't correct. A thin line of natural justice you cannot cross, because it is their private life again. But you can always suggest to them that maybe you can make a complaint, because this is a complaint worthy issue.
So involving a counselor is okay, but not on the internal committee.
Also, internal committee, if you are there, are you crossing the line?
But
What bars
it
you
would
from
not-
could
they
create
could-
a
it could
conflict
create
of
a
interest,
conflict of
because if
interest
the
also.
complainant and the respondent are going to a counselor, firstly they should
There
go
are
to
instances where
separate-
both of them come together also.
Yes.
Sometimes they come at
Okay,
different points
and
of
in
time.
that particular case, maybe that counselor can step down.
Okay.
There should be a completely
Complete,
different
different
therapist or a
therapist.
psychologist
Yes.
on the panel.
I don't see a reason why a counselor can't be on IC, but if the same counselor was counseling them at that point,
Then she can step down.
yes.
Okay.
I asked this question now, looking at the perspective of complaint.
Yes.
So whoever is complaining, she should have a person to listen to her. Otherwise,
It is encouraged. In fact, now they are also encouraging. See, what usually they are barred from getting a lawyer. A respondent is barred from getting a lawyer.
Okay.
But a complainant is not barred from getting a friend, a colleague, a confidant in the meeting. She's not. She
Isn't
can.
the law a little warped on this thing?
No, it is
Uh,
not. It is very clear.
Because equal
It's not
rights.
equal
You
rights
are
for
not
the
your
complainant.
parents.
The complainant is not bringing a lawyer on board. Hence, a respondent is not allowed to bring a lawyer.
But not even a support.
See, I am a neutral party. The primary aim, objective, responsibility of the internal committee is to be neutral. Only go by the witness statements, by the allegations, which of them are proved, where is the evidence coming out of. I am a neutral party. I am not taking sides.
But that is very subject to human bias, right?
I don't
When you're
think so.
saying
Being unbiased is my main objective, and as lawyers,
There's a human element which brings in.
as a lawyer, I think we learn to become like that because we're always justifying both the sides. Sometimes, in one case, I might be in a wife's side, sometimes, in a case, I can be on a husband's side. So, as lawyers, we are generally mentally, we learn to be objective and unbiased. And in these cases, it's always better. Of course, sympathy is there, empathy is there, but to be going by the book and not read between the lines sometimes also helps. Because we have a certain, if today I do not follow the procedure laid down by the law, my orders can be questioned. So that's what happens. So if I lay down, if I don't go by the inquiry steps, if I do not follow the law, tomorrow whoever the order is passed against can actually go to the law, can go to the court saying the
this IC was questionable.
yes.
Right.
So there is a Bombay High Court judgment that says that if there are two views of the same matter, it will not be considered if all the criteria of the investigation steps have been followed. Okay, both the parties were heard, they were taken down. Everything during the inquiry stage has to be written. A report has to be made at the end of every day, literally. Right? It has to be signed by both the parties that this was your statement. Do you agree of it? If they say this is not what I meant, I said this very clearly, I have to change it. So each and every step, if I follow them correctly, the court can also not find a mistake in my orders. That is the intention behind being unbiased. So it is very important for us to put away our emotions and go by the book. Of course, we know who is right, who is wrong, the back of the mind, but we have to even go by the evidences as well.
Okay. So, Sudha, any questions of your
Some of the
end?
case studies I have.
Yes, please.
Can I ask?
Yes, please, sure.
I mean, first question is, he took rest for a month. And during that period also, whoever is the boss, she's a lady, and she's like putting in points like nobody should disturb him. I mean, he got the feel of rejected, some kind of rejection he felt. And after joining the office also, he was in a group.
So this is
Taking it into his inability in front of commenting about his inability to do his illness. That also comes under, this is different.
this is
Does
little
it come under
different.
discrimination or sexual?
This will come under discrimination. So a lot many times it's very important for us to understand the complaint. Sometimes discrimination, if it was against a woman, if it was against a woman by the women themselves, maybe I could have brought it up under this. But if it is against a man, so let's put it this way: a pregnant woman has come back after delivery, and she's been given less work. She's not been given work. So if you're not being given work, how will you do my appraisal, and how will I continue with work and get my appraisals? So same situation, pregnant women is very common also. Same situation, somebody coming back from a sabbatical is very often, but it will not come under sexual
Yes,
harassment.
Mhm.
If a woman is coming back out after sickness, hypothetically speaking, a complete hypothetical case, and if she has lost weight or gained weight, and suddenly people start commenting on her in a way of body shaming, or in the way of, oh, you become hotter, sexier, slash, etc., that can
The
come
words,
under
the
yes,
words also matter.
yes.
Okay. Well, there is a young woman. She used to visit a house office often, and during that period, uh, she was allegedly sexually harassed by an employer of that establishment. Everybody noticed that also, but she was not ready to give a complaint.
Yes.
She is afraid. On her behalf, anybody can take a charge and.
Coming back to your
Yeah.
question, so there are three ways. One, if she gives a written consent to someone, say her son, if she's gone through abuse and she's not well and she's mentally or physically incapable of coming, she can give a written consent to her son, or to her family, or to somebody, anybody she wishes to, her kith and kin. Secondly, in the same situation, a written consent to the colleague she can give, and they can come forward. All this has to be within a time frame of 3 months. So 3 months from the last date of being subjected to such kind of a harassment, one must make a complaint. However, there was a case law that said, what if I'm making a complaint after 3 months? Say, I told him not to harass me. 3 months were over, again he has made this, or I was too scared. So the same thing has to be written and be mentioned to the IC, saying that I was too scared to make this complaint. That's why it took me courage to come up to you, and 3 months
She
had
has to
lapsed.
admit.
Whatever, it has to be justified in a written way to the IC.
The domestic help also like this if a woman is working in a house and she is coming to do the household chores, and one of the family members who is a male, a son or husband, whoever it is, he started pinching her, touching her. I mean, that's how can she get the help then?
See,
Okay.
domestic help, domestic domestic word is very broad and very clear. Domestic relations are father, daughter, father, mother, father, husband, wife, son, daughter, son, mother, son. The domestic relation will come under the domestic laws, domestic abuse against women.
Here it
This,
is
No,
a
here it's an
housemaid, no?
employer.
Housemaid.
you mean the
Housemaid.
Maid,
the
whoever
The employer
comes to
Employers.
perpetrated the
so
house
whoever
help.
can complain in that circumstance, most of the time they will go to the police,
straight.
or they will tell somebody in the area who's a woman. Say she's an elder woman, people know that she's doing a lot of
Usually
work.
they
They
sort
will
out
come.
in the community itself sometimes.
That is, if it is happening within that community. If they know that the boss is only harassing them, the boy is troubling them, in those, it's very sad. The woman of the house is the woman of the house. So in the locality, if the helper, domestic helper, is aware that certain lady is very helpful, or can listen to me, I can confide in them. They usually go to
Go
them.
to them.
Like I get a lot of these things, and then sometimes I say that leave the job, because it's more difficult for me to put them on a stand time and again than to ask them to just find another job. You have to sometimes see what is more practical also. As a lawyer, I don't want to fight all the time. As a lawyer, I don't want to always be lawyering around. But as a person with an intellect, that lawyering will not bring justice to them and peace of mind. They have to just evaluate what works the best.
So in that case, the lady does not get justice.
No, she
No,
will
no.
go to
See,
some
I
other
will go talk
advocate.
to. No, I will go talk to the man. Say,
Hmm.
I am a lawyer. I will go talk to the man saying that you've done this. He said, what proof do you have?
Hmm.
Okay, I don't have the proof. The woman is it. Okay, the woman has said, take her away. She will might have a little more courage and take them to the police station. What will the police do? The police will call if it is not a rape or a assault or a next level.
Hmm.
If it is pinching, if it is brushing her, if
Yeah.
it is just all that, the police will call him and give him warning.
Hmm.
If he is more connected, he will say,
Jane
"What,
do.
Jane do, I will give."
That's what you
See,
mentioned earlier.
I am a lawyer, yes, but I also know what happens behind my
Practically.
back
Practically.
practically. So sometimes it is better to walk away with your peace than drive and strive for justice. What will happen? The police will say, "क्यों बार-बार आ रहे?" The police will call him and give him a warning for sure. But that is it.
The trump card at the woman's end must be that she can spread a rumor against the person
All
in the
those are
community, and then
yeah, that all
that
those are
could
things that she can do. But legally,
she doesn't have the rights.
sometimes it's not that
Mm.
easy.
Mhm.
Sometimes in an organization, an elderly person, I mean, women has to work with a boss. I mean, they go,
Yeah.
they they go on a trip to some place due to work, and there this person, this boss wanted to have a sexual interaction with the girl, but she denied, and he tried to persuade her. She didn't listen to him, so at that moment he stopped, but after coming back, he started saying negative about
This
the
is
girl.
a direct sexual harassment case.
We can, I mean, directly she can go and
Yeah, this is a one of the definitions is this where a senior employee with power position trying to make move unconsensual move on the woman at a lesser level. This is a direct. This is a plain case of sexual harassment at workplace.
Um, Thank you very much.
I think somebody
Is there
raised-
anyone who
Yeah.
wants to
Yes.
question? Merlin?
Yes.
Yes, Ms. Jyoti, I have a question, but it's not related to POSH directly. It is something to do with POXO. So, when you have, like, I'm a counselor at school, yeah. So, when you have students coming to you for counseling, sometimes they reveal to you their personal issues and their past also. And sometimes, they also inform you about some past sexual abuse that they faced from maybe a cousin or family member or somebody.
Yes.
And not recently. Maybe it happened like 2 years, 3 years down the line. It happened repeatedly. So what should I do in that case, or what should a counselor do in that case? And they don't want to tell anybody. They want to maintain the family name. They don't want to report to the police. So what can we do in that case?
See, this is a very common thing, very
Mhm.
common thing, and a lot of POCTO cases in the upper strata. Well, any strata. I'm sorry, I'm not generalizing here, but this happens very often. That is why when you saw the Me Too movement, so many women came out. Millions of women came out, and they said that on an average, 1 in 3 women are abused all the time. So
Mhm.
this is a very common thing, and they will say we don't want the family to get to know much about this, but it is your cardinal duty to inform the parents. So we were in a group called Masoom, wherein we were only spreading awareness about good touch and bad touch. So we showed the spots, and we put the covers of good touch bad touch behind books and distributed. And in all that noise that we made all over India in 3 years, one kid came up to us and said, "Oh, but this uncle touches me like this." Like, kids
Hmm.
don't know. So we thought we were a success story because at least one kid came up to us in those millions of awareness sessions that we've done. But it becomes our duty to inform the parents. Lot many times the parents don't confront, safeguard, don't safeguard. After a point, that's all we can do, right? Like, I don't know if you can, maybe if it is more of a molestation and all, you can even take it to the police, but the parents can always question you, saying that why did you take this to the police? They can.
Correct.
And but the
Merlin,
but the POXO Act is thankless. I will tell you that. Um, if there is a POXO case going on, it is thankless.
Mhm.
if I read correctly, Merlin, I think
Yeah.
as counsel, I mean, the POXO Act states, and if I have understood it correctly, states that whenever anyone gets to know about a child being abused, it is the duty to bring it to the notice of the police or the right authority. Now, being in a counseling situation, there are lots of other things that we have to consider. One is the family, whether the family is willing to let it out, whether the management of the school is willing to take on those cudgels, because so it is not clear on a lot of things. I fully side with you, because one does come across lots of cases where children do come and confide, and they have been affected when they have been abused in childhood, and it resurfaces when they get to be adolescents. But that's one of the reasons why I was so keen on listening to this law also. And I think Jyoti has agreed to come and talk to us on the POXO thing separately, because that's a whole big
It's a very
chapter.
big subject, and it can't be diluted with anything else, because some time back I was handling a POXO case, and I got to know the procedures, and I would also say a little bit of the lacuna of the law. But as a practicing lawyer, I can say what can be bettered for the children, because POXO Act, as I said, is thankless. If a POXO case is going on against somebody, they're pretty much doomed for that time. Like, judges show no mercy if there is a POXO case going on against somebody.
Again,
Thanks, Shruti.
Yeah.
Thanks, Miss Zenobia.
welcome, welcome.
Yeah, one more
Yes.
case study is there. There is a woman, both are colleagues, and one of the man is a divorcee, and slowly they got in, friendship developed, and they went on a date. After understanding, after going date for a few times, she realized that it is not a, she is not ready to continue the relationship. She said the same, but the man is persuading her to be with her. I mean, will it come under the harassment case?
See, I always say this: asking out on a date is not wrong. Going on a date is also not wrong. But after the date, pursuing or cajoling becomes a harassment after a point. If the woman has said no, it is a no. So,
without consequence.
yes, no means no. But a lot many times, women also need to stand on that word, saying no is no. You be friends, but draw that boundary, because that's what I say, that 19 to 25, today kids are working by the age of 21. 21 is so naive, they're just out of their teens. So, you have to understand, they're coming from villages. They come with like flats and oil, and 2 months' salary, their look is changed, their clothes are changed. So for us also, it is our duty to keep spreading awareness, but there's only so much we can do. We've seen it, or I feel very old now. Yeah, also I like to tell you one small thing. During pandemic, a whole new
Pandora's
area
box.
opened up, and that is cyber crimes in basic levels, that is chatting, uh, emails. I mean, I was amazed at how much I was busy during pandemic, because so many cases came up, wear something nice and come online, wear something sleeveless and come online, wear something and come online for the men. So, the cyber crimes is a very broad area again. People find new ways to create harassment, to be a rogue in the
No,
area.
on Facebook also, when just
So
like
there
that.
was one case that I dealt with the police. This was during that time when I was very active with the SHE team. This man was an IT genius. He was working with the IT company, and only on Facebook he managed to create an imposter account with a girl's photo, with a very simple girl's photo. He befriended some 500 girls, 1,000 girls he befriended, all from this IT, basic IT world, and he befriended everyone. Saying that I'm such a good friend to you. Show me what you are wearing. It came down to levels of show me what you are not wearing. And in that level, he started blackmailing girls, saying, "Give me 5,000." Extortion started happening. So I say the three levels of damage on the cyber crimes front. One is harming the reputation of a person, one is harming the person itself, and one is harming the bank balances. These are the three main objective of cyber crimes. In this area, we saw during pandemic that workforce harassment started coming online, chatting, wanting to see company. Hello, hi, what you doing? Okay, I'm going to sleep. Who are you going to sleep with? Those kind of questions also became sarcasm, also became an issue. That was one of my cases long time back. Like, who are you going to sleep with? You going out? Who are you going? So those kind of indirect tones.
Seriously, I should say, share one of them.
Yes, please.
WhatsApp, we have attended a workshop, it seems, and that usually WhatsApp groups develop, no? So I didn't know the person also. He messaged me, a boy, a 25-year-old boy, and he started, commenting on different things. I told I'm a 50-year-old, I have a son of your age, so I'm not a good person to do the conversation, I think. Oh, you are 50. I don't know that. He said. And I know I can't. If you have any doubts on psychology issues, and then I'm ready to answer your questions. I said, I understood. You are not of my age, so there is no maturity compatibility won't be there. I can't. Went off.
Yeah, if you were younger and if you were freer, his chance would have hit. No, you
That's
will
right.
like chat.
That's what I was.
So the chatting also, the girls need to know where to draw a boundary. Every day saying good night, good morning after being aware that somebody is married. Somewhere like, why do you want to say good night, good morning every day? What are you doing, baby? Baby is to become the most easiest used word.
Facebook Messenger.
So coming
whatever.
back to Facebook, that thing, that IT guy was a IT genius. At the age of 22, 23, he was already climbing the success, in the workplace. However, because he got into this, one girl, he would blackmail all the girls saying that if you complain to anyone, I will reveal your pictures. One girl went to the SHE team. She came to us and said, "Madam, I don't know how you do it. I don't want this to come out. If it comes out, I will go commit suicide. If it goes beyond my parents, they will also commit suicide." Now, in that delicate situation, how do we deal with this? One girl had the courage out of those 500 girls on Facebook. Today, that boy is selling samosa in Gachibowli, and the police keeps an eye on him. The whole cyber world has become very tricky. Please know where you're putting your pictures or what pictures, and how you like that. Of course, the bank details everybody tells you.
No, age is not a barrier also to do these things.
Age
80-year-old uncle, I should say, she is one of my friends there also. Later I came to know. He started talking about the relationship with wife and husband. On and off, continuously he was putting messages. I had to stop at some point.
Yeah.
I didn't stop responding. And another CBSE school principal from somewhere. I sent a friend. He sent a friend request to me, looking at his profile. Okay, he's a good. He's a principal means he might
Don't
have some
don't
sense.
encourage unknown
No,
people
people
on
do.
your Facebook or
He
social
just said,
media.
he just said.
When you put when you are okay to accept on LinkedIn also, which is a work area, you reach out to people. Only reach them out when you know,
At least
because you never
know
know
what they
who has what intentions. Even women.
Yeah.
I'm not saying men alone, even women. You don't know what intentions, what is going on. They're all unknown people to you. So generally just avoid.
The women of my age is vulnerable to
Why
such things.
women of any age? She's so good looking today, anybody will hit on
No,
her.
not like that. I'm saying the youngsters they fall prey.
Yeah, very easy, very easy. Cases come to us. One, I was thinking, what is there? Why she raised this complaint? There's nothing to this. When I did her interrogation, she said, "Ma'am, I don't want any other woman to go through this and more, because he has the tendency to cross." And that hit me so strongly that I was taking it so lightly. So, yeah.
No, it is happening. I can say that. Are you? Do you want to have a professional friendship or a different friendship? Questions and at same category people of my age only.
You are very wanted.
No,
You're in demand,
during,
ma'am.
during this pandemic, no,
It is.
this has opened.
That was
so many-
typical of the pandemic.
I didn't know that this also happens. I came to know.
People were devoid of company and they were yearning for
Yes.
human relationships.
Yes.
I think we can.
Lot of time with us.
Yeah, yes,
Right.
yes. We're actually in the schedule, we are in time of what time we lost.
Yeah, sure. Next time when you're doing some more upcoming sessions, we can maintain that, right?
Thank you
Yeah,
very
Merlin.
much.
I hope I was helpful and the discussion wasn't boring.
Yeah, very insightful and informative session, Jyoti. We thoroughly enjoyed. Merlin, you can do vote of thanks.
Sure. So, Ms. Jyoti, thank you so much for the valuable time and sharing your wisdom, not just legal knowledge that you shared with us, the different understandings of the internal committee and the act itself, but you also shared your wisdom. How should one go through the case? So this is something that we have to keep in mind, like the humane skill as psychologists, as lawyers, because we come across these things at workplace, and where we working in educational institutions. So you gave a lot of examples, and plus the audience shared a lot of case studies. So it was a very interactive seminar, very wonderful knowledge sharing. So thank you so much, and we have taken positive mental health, and I wish you all the best.
Thank you so much.
Thank you, Jyoti.
Thank you.
Thank you very much, Jyoti.
Thank
Really
you so much.
appreciate.
Yes. Yeah, thank you, Jyoti. Bye, friends.
Okay.
We'll
Bye.
meet in next session. Yeah, bye-bye. Take care.